I'm going to be reading some nighttime poems. I'm going to start with an old poem that connects with what Blake's book is about. It's called Insomnia, and it first appeared in Guernica magazine, where you can find poems by the most recent Nobel laureate. Insomnia. We sleep on stilts above the floor, as if the air in between could change where we began, or a cheek against the ground might carry us underneath. This one's actually called Nocturnal. Nocturnal. I am here again in the iron-braced dark, where we reassemble ourselves as strangers, each of us obedient, drawn below ground, drowsy as pilgrims. Recognition here is myopic. I know only aerosol and exhaustion, shoulder seams, a port wine stain, and your secret still mouth. Swallowed in tangles, legs and arms I cannot discern or follow. Press me, like the freedom of grass, to let go, lean in. There is nowhere to fall. I would not trade this for surface, but the end comes sudden as breaking. We leave our fluorescent privacy, stumble off, gone mute as plastic horses, unspoiled and blank-eyed, almost a small tribe. Before GPS, if you were at sea, the only way you could tell where you were was at night by the stars. At sea, outbound in ballast, heavy with gravel that smells of home. Our quarry emptied out in another hemisphere's bay. I saved a stone from the hold, the shape your elbow makes in my palm. 13 weeks without anchor, only canvas and straining rope. Twice I smelled the solace of pines in wind, carried off an unseen coast. Our constellations slip under the horizon as we sail beyond God. My skin will never be white again. 2 hands already are lost, one swept over by following seas, the other slipped from the mast. Below the tropic, man-sized birds and tinsel sky are real, but a grave beside you would be a fable. Here, the horn is Lord, with ice and swells high as the cross trees. For passage, we promise apples, penguin hides, even our thumbs. Given now or taken eastward, both crosses can never be calm. The Pacific will bring us ashore, to walk unswerved for more than a yard, and a holy day of turnips carved into flowers, plum duff and wooden hymns. The charade only deepens the absence it bends to hide. I would rather pray for sleep and enough wheat to come home. The place farthest on an orbit from the sun is the aphelion. So as dark as the night could get. Right. So this is aphelion. Leave your country and all its weather behind. Forget the sun, the tent of sky, the wind in vast cotillions. Choose me instead, in this dim place, under a shelter of speculation and tin. Here, We speak the argot of twins, and I know there are creatures only you see, and answers I am not ashamed of. Cast beyond the planets, even Pluto has a moon. They spin with locked tides, always face together, married to darkness. So stay, my consort, my lovely disturbance. This one's about the sun, not the night. And it's as close to a political poem as I've got. Endangerment finding. Admit our sun is common, a Milky Way twin to 100 million more. Even its end ordinary, no stellar explosion. It will snap hydrogen to helium, then cool to a dense core. You squint skyward, still wanting the corona of a bright god, the unconquered sun that chose us to spin around. But there is no need for tributes of maize and falcon wings while we burn the oil of light left epochs ago. You may ratify the droughts and downpours, assign blame for melting ice and rising seas, but I can count more kinds of hammers than turtles. We need instinct, not law. The dogs of Pompeii howled for days. Even snakes slithered from Halise. In the Gallatin Range, the bears left the forest. At night, a slice of mountain shook down. Sleepers drowned in their beds, soaked in waves off the lake. When the ground stilled, the bears returned, covered in mud. Hush. Listen to our internal combustion rumble. There is more elegance in turning photon to electron to motion. Let us trade the old sun for the new one. Sustain ourselves, wet and green, within this delicate spindle of axis and orbit. One last one. Disturbance. Put a silver coin on your tongue with a penny underneath, and you can taste the electricity. We said, go slow, but we're urgent as elephants, charging down the power lines. Now the lights won't stay on, and the trees are down. Sleep until you're done. I'm awake, brushing hands along darkened walls, feeling for the switch. It must be here somewhere. We are electric. This is not a metaphor. Each of our cells, a tiny battery, membrane the cardboard, ions the coin. Once, I tumbled down a flight of stairs, then fainted each time I tried to stand. Overcome by nerves in riot, the body powers down, crumples rather than abide. Even swooning is a kind of fainting, overwhelmed by bliss instead of pain. We cross our breaking capacity, too much current in the wires, and a strip of metal melts in sublimation. But without the blown fuse or insulated mica, the charge could stop a heart. 1,500 people crowded Coney Island to watch Edison electrocute an elephant with 60,000 volts. No one cared if the men she killed fed her lit cigarettes, or if the current was alternating. They came for spectacle, the twin desire for frenzy and obedience, to watch a mammoth condemned for being wild. Are you awake now? There is a storm coming. Count the distance with me. Thunder lay down in the heart. With steeples tipped in copper, earthing rods on roofs, we can leave the water or crouch in a field, but we still draw lightning between us. In the Southern Ocean, your great-grandfather watched balls of fire in the sails, the luminous energy that gathers on ships after a squall. On the shores of Lake Superior, lightning leaves fulgurite behind, sand fused into rods of glass, jagged shells holding the shape of being struck. The rock is amorphous. A word I want to believe means love without form. It may not take the shape we expect, but a stunning singularity instead, forked and branched underground, impossible to measure without breaking. But with rulers and shovels, we approach anyway. The sublime is a failure of the mind, said Kant, to understand what seems formless and boundless. Now you hold my face in your hands, even as lamps flicker and dim. Maybe there is no switch. Help me search. If we stand on wax, clutching wire and vials, the sparks as our lips near can be counted. But without the mind, these motions are only reflex. Galvani strung frogs, severed at the spinal cord, on wire across his rooftop, and waited for lightning. Their legs leaped and twitched without longing or direction, obeying the storm. My love, I would thread your torn nerves together, become electrogenic, with anodes and cathodes for fingers, to soothe this arrhythmia. Suspend me in silks and my face will glow. Current is the cure for both a stopped heart and one that beats too much. And if it must be shocked twice, the surgeons call it a reluctant heart. Love is haywire. Hold fast between us past subtle particles that singe and seize. We are electric. Thank you.